is a public hearing to receive comment regarding amending Part 2, Chapter 2, Article 4, Code of Ethics of the City of Elizabeth City Code of Ordinances with regard to a conflict of interest policy. Clerk, we have any speakers? Declare the public hearing closed. Mr. Olson, would you like to walk us through this and changes and things?
This amendment was requested as part of the city's annual audit, where our auditors expressed concerns that we did not have rules that govern all members of the city organization under the Code of Ethics and the Conflict of Interest statutes. What you have in front of you is a revised copy. We have amended Section 2-110 through 2-117 of the City Code. The changes that were requested at the March 10th meeting have been incorporated into the document. Changes bring all city employees, elected and appointed, now under the city's ethics code. And there was a revision that Councilman Steinmetz had provided city staff prior to this meeting. You have it in front of you. You can see what was the original part of the code. Changes are specifically to Section 2-115, and I'll let Councilman Steinmetz speak on this issue.
Mr. Stevens.
I didn't provide any changes. I just asked some questions, and you guys clarified it for me. So I didn't change anything. It was unclear to me in the documentation exactly who was subject to the articles, under what rule was they investigated, who directs the investigation, who conducts the investigation, and how's it disposed of. And you provided us with a matrix that filled all that in, and that works for me. You know, if the language addresses those things, then I'm a happy guy, and I think so. That's pretty much it. The main thing was to spell out who's subject to this article, i.e., everybody, city officials and staff. Two, who can are they subject to investigation? The answer is yes. Who directs that? Who does it? When you get it done, how do you handle it? Because city employees and the manager all fall in the personnel system, and the rest of us don't. So that was, I think you clarified those. I'll have to look at this other language because I'm just now seeing it. So I'm not prepared to take action tonight. So I'll discuss a couple other things while I have the floor. In Section 211 definitions. And I'm sorry if I drive you guys crazy out there, but this is under 3. You say any business entity which the stock of blah 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 is controlled or owned directly or indirectly by the city official. I could read that to mean that if I own a mutual fund, I have any stock in that mutual fund of a company that comes before us, say Thompson Thrift, for example, I have to disclose that. I might not even know that I have it. So I think that language is a little too broad, and any percent is really like, I mean, if you got a company with 1 billion outstanding shares and I own 100, I don't think I have a whole lot of impact on them. So I'm not sure. I'd like you to look at that section. I just think it's a little too broad. And you know, and it says, you know, controlled or owned directly or indirectly. All right, and I own stocks indirectly through mutual funds. I'm sure other people do too. So, you know, is that what we really want to say? Because then we're all going to have to disclose all our portfolios of everything. I don't think you want that.
So are you recommending we keep it at the 5% that was in there before?
I'm just saying I think the other language is too broad. Come back with something different. Pick something. 5 might be a good number. I don't think any of us own more than 5% in any company. What's a controlling interest in the SEC's mind? 5%?
51%.
Well, no, I mean, but there's control and there's, you know, you have the ability to influence it. I don't know, some number, find a number. Under use of official position, it's in Section 2112, subparagraph 2. We talk about private gain, but we don't talk about if you will, profits something else, either a hobby or or their own, a volunteer interest or something like that. In other words, people shouldn't be doing church work on city time, for example, or, you know, any volunteer committees they're on, they shouldn't be doing that on city time. We don't address that issue. We just say personal gain. I think we need something to talk about, you know, outside of that. In the next section down, subparagraph 5, the last sentence, for the purpose of this section, the duration shall be for 1 calendar year at a time. What, I don't know what that refers to.
What that does, if you get, you're limited in any gift to no more than $25
Right.
every calendar year.
One gift, or can I have multiple gifts under 25? The way I read it, I can have multiple under 25.
Well, if the value of a gift is $25 or more, you can have multiple gifts, but if it has a value of $25 or more,
You can't take
you
it.
can only do that once a year.
No, the way I read it, you can't get one for more than 25, period. End of discussion. I don't see where it says you can have anything over 25.
No, that's what I thought I just said.
No, you said you said I can have one gift for over $25 within a 1-year period. And I don't read it that way. I read it as you can have no gifts over $25 anytime. So the duration thing doesn't make sense to me.
But if I may, I think maybe what Mr. Olson is saying is that you could have a $20 gift every year, or $24.99 gift every year, but you cannot exceed $25 in any calendar year.
From any one entity.
That's correct.
Well, that's okay, but then I would say that from anyone rather than this duration thing. In a calendar year, from any one source in a calendar year, then it's clear. I can't get anything worth more than $25 from any source in 1 calendar year. They give me 20 now and 15 5 months later, I'm in violation. That's all. It was throwing me off. 2-114, general disclosure. We say that city officials have to disclose all this information, but how are we going to know if the other people subject to it are complying if they don't also disclose as well? It almost infers that everybody has to disclose. If you're subject to this policy, you're going to have to disclose. And secondly, you need to put the line in there, like in 114A1, it says, of which he is an owner. It should say he or a member of immediate household is an owner. That's just to reinforce what's up previously under the definition section where you have an interest. So you need to rethink that one, because the question comes, if you're subject to this and you don't disclose it, then how am I going to know if you're in compliance? I'm going to find out by accident? It's got to have, I don't know how other jurisdictions have handled that or the state has, but that's an issue. And it's not simple, because you got 200 some odd employees, you got to have them fill this thing out every year. That's painful for everybody. And you got to say what your immediate members of your household are involved in. Those were the specifics. I also like to move to table action.
Go
Go
I'm
ahead.
not sure I understood exactly what you were saying on the last item, Mr. Steinmetz. With city officials, that would not include city employees.
Right. The only people you have right now having to disclose are city officials.
Right.
How are you going to enforce, how are you going to know if there's a conflict or not unless the other people will also disclose? You got no way of knowing. It's a toothless ordinance. You might as well take out the applicability to city employees.
So you're of the belief that all city employees have to do public disclosure forms?
Well, my sense is if you want everybody to be subject to this ordinance, then everybody has to disclose. Otherwise, don't bother.
Well, that's what the auditor wants, is all city employees to be governed by it.
And then they have to disclose. It only makes sense. Well, you don't have to make that change. Go look into it and see what the answer is. I'd like to make a motion to table action on this item until staff has time to come back with answers to at least those questions, if not any others.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Brooks, do you want to?
No.
Second motion.
Yeah, I know. And I thought he had something?
No,
Okay.
we're gonna table it until more information comes out, I'll just go ahead and second.
Okay. Any other, Mr. Donovan?
Yes, I would suggest that you try to make it gender neutral as well. You know, that section 114, you used the pronoun he. Down in section 2-115 under investigations A, you use his investigation. Under 2115B, you use his investigation. The investigation could cover that. And then you refer to the city manager as himself, other than the city manager. If you make it gender neutral, I think it's more encompassing.
And there's a provision in the city code that states everything is gender neutral, but it'd be easy for us to fix that.
Okay, thank you.
It's already covered in the set of the code.
Good.
Any other comments, direction, city manager? We have a motion, a second to table this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay. It seems to me we also need a motion to table 9C, because that's a part of this.
Make a motion to table consideration of item 9C, adoption amendment, council rules of procedure, providing for reading of statement disclosure until after we pass our policy on ethics.
Second motion.
Okay? Have a motion, a second. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay. Next is 9D, policies and procedures. Mr. Brooks?
Yes, I want to be very brief. The last council meeting, I made a motion, and the mayor denied the motion. And after the motion was denied, he said the motion was out of order, and the meeting quickly adjourned. Those who was out in the audience, they were kind of thrown back by how quick the meeting was adjourned. And when it comes to me, all I'm gonna do is read what our rule says and what was done. It was done improperly. I'll read it and then I'll say what it means in writing in terms of being to be understood. It said the presiding officer, who is the mayor, Mr. Peel, although the presiding officer has the responsibility of enforcing the rules, any member who believes he has noticed a case where the chair is failing to do so can, at that time, the breach occurs, call attention to it by making a point of order. The effects is to require the chair to make a ruling on the question. Although the duty of ruling on all questions of parliamentary procedure affecting the Assembly's proceedings rests with the chair, any two members, by moving and seconding the appeal, immediately after the chair has made such a ruling, can require him to submit the matter to a vote of assembly. And it did good all to the point that when he asked for the meeting adjourned, whatever was in his jurisdiction, but any two council members can bring it up to a vote before the whole council. Since he adjourned the meeting, we didn't get a chance to do that. So we didn't storm out. It was improperly done, according to the rule. So those that didn't understand, we didn't storm out. Once he adjourned the meeting, there's no need for us to have sat here at all. So we left. So Mr. Peel did everything right. He could rule the motion out of order. That's his prerogative. But we have a city council, city manager type government. That means that the council with a majority vote can overrule the mayor's rule. But because the meeting was adjourned, we didn't have a chance to do that. I just wanted to make that clear. I don't want to talk later. One more thing I have to say in an article that Bud Wright wrote, calling me a bully, and I thank those. I have a lot of supporters out there, and I thank you very much for it. Whenever someone else does something like manner the way I do, they say that they are passionate. When I do it, it's called bullying. And the reason why I bought the article for Bud Wright, and I won't go into it, when the issue occurred a long time ago with a city employee, you read about it, and they was talking about if I were communicating a threat to the city employee. Not only was the procedures not done correctly, and I don't want to go into that, I'll do it some other time, but they violated the rules and procedure. But this is what I want to get to with Bud Wright. Bud Wright called me a bully in this thing, in this article. Bud Wright, in his article of opinion, talked about my mother and father. Said it had something to do with my mother and my father raised me. And he had the audacity to call me a bully. My sisters responded to it. I sent Bud Wright a letter to cease and desist, or legal action we're taking care of. Will be imposed upon him. He got very close to it right now. So if you're listening, Bud Wright, you write about this. You write something that's defame my character one more time, I will put legal proceedings against you. You can have any opinion you want, but it better not be discriminatory and it better not defame my character. Thank you, Mr.